Welcome in to the Ultimate Boise Sports Show. I'm Jordan Smith. Once again, we are without our beloved Austin Parr on his parental sabbatical. Meanwhile, we've got another wonderful guest here. You might remember this guy.
Maybe.
Hi. Brian Holmes.
How's it going?
It's great. It's
Good.
so good to have you here.
It's good to be here.
Back in the studio where it all began.
Not much has changed other than this background here.
Yeah, so you didn't start off as an anchor, obviously. You
No.
climbed the ropes the old school, hardcore journalist way as a photographer, is that right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I started out in this business wanting to do sports, kind of what you did, and then developed this skill for shooting and stuff and telling stories. And so that's kind of where my path diverged from wanting to do ESPN-style sports to storytelling and that kind of stuff. And so, that's kind of how I got into it.
And you came to the Treasure Valley, you never left.
No, it's been a bit. 99 is when I got here.
Wow.
Yeah, things have certainly changed since then, but it was quite the sports landscape in those days when I got here. And again, when I got here, I didn't work for Channel 7 to begin with, so I was chasing Mark Johnson while working for the Fox affiliate that just started up a newscast and trying to figure out, all right, how do I get into this sports world where it was dominated by Channel 7, where they had three sports people. They had Mark Johnson, Ed Vining, and David Augusto.
And let's not forget Tom Scott.
And Tom Scott. So
to
they
top it all off.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And they had, at times, they were carrying the contract for Boise State. So it's like, I'm just the outsider, just like, hey, I got a question.
Yeah, hey, if you ever have an opening,
Yeah.
give me a call. Well, I think that's funny because one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was kind of the evolution of sports since you've been here in Boise. Because 1999, I mean, that were big West days of Boise State football.
Big West days, yep.
And then you got Boise Hawks. Steelheads were maybe around then?
Steelheads were around, yes. They were the big party. CBA, the Idaho Stampede, were pretty big. I mean, this was the team that had Spud Webb back in '97 when they first started playing out at the Idaho Center.
Man.
And so I got here and I thought, oh, we got all kinds of sports. We got, professional basketball, professional hockey, professional baseball, and BSU. And I was like, this is the dream, right? And then slowly but surely the Stampede kind of went away. But it's been, the staples have been those other three throughout the 25 plus years that I've been here.
Yeah, and it seems like another one's just been added in the team that we're both representing here. Which,
Yep.
AC Boise right here, that's your, where you're spending a lot of your time these days.
I am spending a lot of my time. It's a great place to spend time, actually. It's a great group. It's a great bunch of people, great team, and this is something that has been kind of building up and permeating under the surface, well, for at least 10 years. And it's now in its full swing, and it's just fun to watch and fun to be a part of. And I spend my Saturdays and Wednesdays, match nights, excuse me. Got to get the vernacular.
Match nights, that's right.
Yeah. In the press box, but watching, I have a great vantage point to watch this team play. And when they play at home, it is an amazing scene.
What's so funny about this, and I was wondering kind of what your takeaway is when there's a new team, there's a lot of excitement.
Sure.
And I think it's easy to get swept up in it.
But we haven't had that in a while.
No, we haven't. And, forever it's been Boise State football,
Yep.
the Steelheads you mentioned. But I kind of assumed, okay, once it hits 100 degrees, maybe the sellouts might taper off a little bit. The excitement is still there. I mean, has this surprised you at all?
Temperature, air quality, still 7,200 show up in force. And this last match was one for the ages. I mean, they needed to win against one of the hottest teams in League One, and they pulled it off in miraculous fashion. It was amazing. It was a great night, and the fans and the atmosphere was just incredible. And you're looking at Maya's first goal in the division, or in the league, which was amazing. And then, of course, Blake Bodley, Eagles native, scoring the game winner in the second half, which just sent the crowd into a frenzy, and it was just fun to be part of.
It's just been unbelievable to watch because, back to the 99 start here, this was the horse track. This wasn't really, and we were talking to Tom Scott about this too, which was, it would get quite a bit of attendance, but nothing quite like what we've seen.
Wednesday night, ladies' nights, it was rock.
It was the place to be.
It was the place to be on Wednesday nights. And then, of course, when the Kentucky Derby Open started the season on that first Saturday in May, it was quite the place. But it was just a cool atmosphere. And what they've done with it is they've saved a little bit of that. They have, you still the grandstands and some of the stuff in the turf club, but it is, to see 7,200 there every time is still impressive.
Yeah.
Still just blows my mind.
Where do you see this team going? Exactly. Because I think, year one, hard to define expectations. You just want to build a nice platform, foundation, and it seems like they're doing that very well. Where do you see this team going?
Further up
Yeah.
the ranks when it comes to USL, the United Soccer League. That is the plan. Expanding the stadium, adding more seats because they sell out every home match. We're going to add a few more seats there, and then, championship. That's the next level. That's
right.
where you're taking on the better teams and bringing in better players and bringing some really quality soccer into Idaho.
Yeah, and I think it's the next season or 2 seasons they're incorporating relegation. Is that
demotion and relegation? That's the plan. I mean, it is only. You've seen the American Pyramid. There's MLS up there, and then the USL down with a couple USL 2s and stuff. But that's the plan. Is that you move back and forth between Championship and League One. And when they do that, they're planning on making League One, which is now nationwide, kind of a more regional type of organization division. So the travel isn't so strenuous to go all the way to New York, for example.
Right.
Or all the way to Florida from
and then
Boise.
to bust down to South Carolina.
To have to bust down because flights just didn't work out.
Which is just the most minor league sports story of all time.
Yeah.
It's just a 14-hour bus ride, arriving 2 hours before the game.
Right.
And then having to play a professional game.
Yeah, that is minor league sports.
To a T. Yeah. What do you make of this head coach, Nate Miller? I mean, here's a guy who seems, not to be Chris Collinsworth of here's a guy, but this guy seems to know he's got a personal connection to everybody on this team. Mm-hmm. And he's the most personable, fun guy to talk to. It's just such a fun blend.
And he's real, and you know this when you talk to him. He is who he is.
Yeah.
You talk to him, you're getting the Nate Miller. And that affection for his team and his players is real as well. I mean, just ask him a question about every single one, and he'll tell you that even when one of just most recently, Tomas Among has been the starting forward, and struggling a little bit when it comes to scoring. That's not struggling necessarily when it comes to the team, but just wanting to put the ball in the net. And when he finally did it a couple matches ago, the affection and the embrace between those two, as Coach Miller told him, like, you deserve this, enjoy this. This is what this is all about. And you've been struggling and you've been working for this, but this is all you, man. And he just said, everybody needs to be loved. And it's that kind of a story with all of this team, is that everybody feels like they're part of a family.
Yeah.
That's what's most impressive to me, is that it's not just players show up match day, practice, or training, and then go their separate ways. These people hang out together.
Yeah, it does seem very tight-knit,
yeah.
Right? In a way that you don't really see in professional sports.
Right.
Real quick, can we talk about Wednesday's matchup? We've
Yes.
got an international friendly.
First international friendly, Costa Rica, Sporting FC from the Premier Division in Costa Rica. This is one of the top leagues in that country. They're making their way up into Boise to play athletic club, and it's going to be amazing. This is going to, like I said, one of the top teams in Costa Rica. The first international friendly for AC Boise. It'll be fun to see how they respond.
Yeah.
And it'll just be kind of one of those things. What happened was, before the season started, the Georgia team, the Tormenta FC, I think is what it's called, they just folded just days before the season began. So there were a couple open spots that we needed to fill. And so Brad Stith took it upon himself to kind of work this out in short fashion, and was able to get Sporting FC from Costa Rica to come up on Wednesday. And we hope a lot of people show up, because this is just like when we had Athletic Bilbao and the Tijuana team come up and play at Boise State back in 2015. Mm-hmm. I think the thirst is there to see some real, high-level international soccer.
They're going to get it.
Yeah.
That's going to be really exciting. Okay, Wednesday, mark your calendars.
Yep, gates open at 6, kickoff 7:30.
All right. When we come back, we've got a very special guest talking about the Boise Open, and then we'll be returning. We got some Boise State football.
Oh, yes.
Pac-12 fall camp.
The other football.
It's going to be fun. Welcome back to the Ultimate Boise Sports Show. Our guest today, Executive Director of the Boise Open. You've been doing this for a year or two.
37 years, Jordan. 37. I'm still tricking them. I'm still here.
How? So tell me a little bit about you. Jeff Sanders, Executive Director of the Boise Open. People may not realize you were once a part of the tour.
I did. I played on the PGA Tour from 1980 to 85, but I grew up in Portland. I went to Sunset High School, played golf at the University of Oregon for 4 years. And Boise State has had our number, by the way, in football. Let's just get that up on the table.
I think so.
But I went from playing golf at Oregon to play on the tour for 5 years, from 80 to 85, a long time ago. And then I got in the golf event business in 86 to bring a big tournament to Portland, Oregon, which was my hometown. And been running golf tournaments and events for 40 years. And but the Albertsons Boise Open, this is year 37. I remember coming over here in 1989 and meeting with Warren McCain and Joe Albertson and Gary Michael and John Carley and others back when they were running the company. And now Susan Morris doing a great job, and she's my boss. But I think I'm on my 11th CEO here at Albertsons. They've been the sponsor of this tournament since day one, the longest standing sponsor in golf title sponsor, we call it, Albertsons. And, you know, it's been fun to watch Boise grow. The event's growing along with it. Golf by day, music by night, golf tournament during the day, PGA Tour golf, and then big concerts after. So it's been a lot of fun.
I love that. And so back in the days of the 80s, wooden drivers, is that what we were working with?
We're going with wooden drivers and Balata golf balls. A big drive was 265.
Wow.
You hit it 265, you were a long driver. Now you got to hit it 350.
Yeah.
The
Otherwise, you're not making the cut.
guys are stronger. The clubs go further. The ball goes further. Everything goes further. So, no, it's evolved a lot. I wish they'd slow this golf ball down a little bit.
Yeah, it's exploded, as has Boise, and I guess that's kind of my next question is, you know, back in the 80s, I feel like Boise wasn't really a destination most people had heard about. What was the draw to bring it to the Treasure Valley?
Well, when I first came over here, the PGA Tour wanted to have an event out here on the West Coast that was on the Ben Hogan Tour, which is now called the Korn Ferry Tour. Be like AA baseball, okay? And so we got it down to Tacoma, Sacramento, and Boise. Those were the three. And I chose Boise because back then there was a need of a big summer event, and golf could fill that void. So that's why we came. Boise was much smaller. The Stagecoach, my favorite restaurant, was the best restaurant in Boise in 1989. And I still go there. But anyway, so it's grown tremendously, and we just had a great time entertaining the fans and raising money for charity here.
Yeah, 42 million in 37 years for charity is the number I have, which is just monumental. I mean, we don't see anything really close to that.
Well, it's on the Korn Ferry Tour, which there's about 26 events from coast to coast. We're certainly #1 in overall charitable giving. This year, the tournament will generate more than $3 million. I think it'll be our biggest year for charity here in 37 years this year. So got to, have the week play out, but that's what it looks like. So we're pretty excited. The concerts are sold out. The charity number's going up. People are having a good time. Hey, let's go.
It's going to be great. So we got Nelly, we got the Counting Crows, and we've got
Hardy on Saturday night.
On Saturday, all sold out.
All sold out. Hardy sold out right away, fastest ever. We've done 150 concerts at golf tournaments over the years, and we've never had one sell out in 24 hours. So Hardy sold out quick. Counting Crows was next, and Nelly just sold out. So we're good. We've got them all sold out, and the golf will be amazing, and the concerts will too. So, it's Golfchella here in Boise.
Yeah, I love it, Golfchella. Well, speaking of the golf that's coming here, there's a couple of big names, one of which a local name in Tyler Aldridge, Caldwell native, played at Boise State, and he got an exemption. Is that right?
He did. It's a great story. I mean, in golf, there's never been a pro that's ever gotten a sponsor invitation in any tournament that I'm aware of who offered to give 100% of the prize money that they win that week to charity, local charities.
Wow.
And so because he'd won on this tour one time, played for BSU, great player, we thought that's a great story. And then John Daly's son, John Daly II, who hits it 4 miles.
Oh, he's crazy.
He hits it past his dad. So, we're excited to have second here because he's just turned pro, and he's only played 1 pro tournament. This will be his second. And he's entertaining. He's a good kid. He's entertaining. He kicked field goals with John when he was here. When his dad was here about 15 years ago, he was like 7, and he was kicking field goals on the blue turf.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. Now he's playing in the tournament. Great story.
How similar is he to Daly Sr.? Because I got to meet John. We were doing a media event not too long ago, and he watched me clunk it 8 yards into the water, and then he put it 4 feet next to the pin. Very talented guy. Is there any similarity there?
Similar in golf.
In golf.
But I think John II is maybe taking a different route off the golf course than his father, maybe learning that maybe that's not the best way to go about it. He's a fit guy. His dad says, why? I've never been to a gym. And, he made that work. But in today's golf, with these kids coming up, they're all in great shape. They all hit it a mile. I don't think John Daly's program would work real well right now coming out of college. And I think his son probably figured that out because he doesn't resemble Senior anywhere but on the golf course.
Oh, it's changed so much. Looking back, I mean, comparing your time on the tour to what you're seeing now, you're still around the game, which is very fun. You've gotten to see this evolve. What's the biggest takeaway? What have you seen in this game?
Well, the kids come out of college now ready to play on the tour. When I came out of college, you had to play your way on the tour and get better. Now, when you come out of college, it's almost like coming out of a pro league, right? You're ready. So I would say college golf has really elevated golf, period. And so these kids have no fear. They don't fear anything. They just come out and they think, hey, I can beat you. I don't care who you are. I've been watching you on TV my whole life, but I can beat you. And it's a different mindset, no fear. They're really great players. They've had amazing instruction. And I go back to they're all really fit. These kids have followed the Tiger Woods model of getting themselves as strong as they can because they know to win and to play on the tour for a long time, you have to be. And so, the days of, playing golf and going to the bar and trying to play good the next day, those are over.
Right.
You don't see that anymore. And so it's a whole different day out there. But my biggest change, I would tell you, would be that the kids are ready when they get out of college to play on the tour immediately.
Yeah, well, because you had mentioned, with the Korn Ferry, maybe it's kind of a double A version of the PGA, but I think given the talent that's all around this sport, can you tell me a little bit more about the talent gap between them?
Well, here's the thing. It's the depth of a dollar bill between the PGA Tour and the Korn Ferry Tour. And the reason it is because if you think about all professional sports, okay? Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, just to name 4. And you think of how many are in the league. On each team times number of teams, we only have 175 golfers on the PGA Tour and 175 golfers on the Korn Ferry. 350 total in the world play on those 2 tours. So if you just do the math on any professional team and then times it by the number of teams in a league, they're all more than 350.
Right.
So the bottom line is it's just super competitive. There just aren't very many slots. And that's because the light comes up in the morning and it gets dark at night. You only fit so many guys on the golf course during the day. That's why there's a cap at 175.
Yeah.
Because we can't play any more than those daylight hours, right? So it's super competitive, but the depth of a dollar bill. I say these kids, Wyndham Clark played here in 2018. He won 2 U.S. Opens. Scotty Scheffler played here in 2019. Look what he's doing. Ricky Fowler played here. His first pro tournament was here, Ricky Fowler. And on and on and on. Justin Thomas, all these guys played here. And then they went on to do big things on the tour. And most of them right away. They didn't wait too long and they had success. So when you come out and watch the tournament here the next 4 days, you're going to see the next Ricky, Justin, Hovland, all of these guys, they played here. And so I always tell people, I said, when you come out, you don't know who it is yet, but you're going to see the next superstar walking the fairways at Hillcrest here. And you're going to say, I was out watching the tournament, and these guys, I watched this guy play, and now he's won the U.S. Open. Wyndham Clark, as an example, right? So it's super competitive, hard to get in, tough club to get into.
Yeah.
Really tough.
Yeah, the margins are razor thin.
Razor thin.
It's going to be great. Well, for anyone who's attending for the first time, very quickly, what can they expect from this?
Well, I would get out there in time to watch great golf, and then I would probably sit under a tree somewhere with a beer, and then I'd come back and watch the concert. I mean, it's that simple. And then on Sunday, my favorite day is Sunday, even though I do love the concerts. But my favorite day is Sunday because it's junior day and family day all wrapped into one. So the kids come out. There's still tickets available for Sunday. The kids come out with their parents or without, and whether you've played golf or whether you are a superstar, junior golfer, it doesn't matter. The local pros here that are part of the Rocky Mountain Section PGA, they give the kids lessons. We give them all a hat, we give them a hot dog, we give them a Coke, all the things you can imagine. And they come out. And the reason I love Sunday, it's final round. We're going to crown the champion on the 18th green. And so if you're a young kid who's just getting started, maybe you're not sure about golf, or maybe you are, come on out, walk, go through the whole golf clinic experience with the pros and all of that, and then go out and watch some golf. And maybe you'll get motivated enough, inspired enough to want to play this game your whole life. Whether you play it in high school, college, or pro, doesn't matter. The great thing about golf is you can play it forever. So we just want people to be exposed, young kids to be exposed, and Sunday's the day. Sunday is the day to do that, without a question.
We are looking forward to it. Hey, 37 years strong.
37
Here's to the next 37. Hey, great to meet you. Thanks for coming on.
Great to meet you, Jordan. Thanks for your time today. I appreciate it.
Welcome back. We've got Brian back at the desk. Boise State football.
Yep.
Days of the Big West. You've watched them climb to the WAC, to the Mountain West. Now here we are. Pac-12 action.
Pac-12. That's amazing to me because when I got here, the wrestling team was the only thing that had any sort of sniff of the Pac-12.
And they were good.
They were good. Yeah.
Back in the day.
They were back in the day. And it's such a different beast, college sports these days, from when I started. Going back to those Big West days, I remember going out with Mark Johnson out to practice, and you could just walk up in there and then grab as they were coming off the field, just grab them for an interview. Still in pads, sweaty, and you got some real emotion, whether it was a good practice or bad practice, and you would get some crazy interviews. And when I say crazy, like you'd get just some real interviews of players and coaches. And it's just, I mean, go back in the archive, go to the basement, and look up like Jay Swilly.
Yeah.
The stuff he would say coming off the practice field.
And just being able to, I mean, even after, I think it was the game against Louisville, I watched the video, the reporter just grabbing players as they're coming off the season-ending bowl game, and they're just able to get unreal access.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot.
It has
There's
changed
now
a lot.
a lot more media training,
Right.
and now, of course, money in NIL.
Right, because back then you had to worry about, could I get a dinner? Can I, or can I borrow a car? Whatever, you know. And now it is the era of NIL, which many people said was going to kill college football, but has not yet, and looks to make it even better.
Yes, there is in the works, there's the Save College Football Act, and essentially this is, it was supposed to be voted on this weekend and has been delayed to September. Essentially, this would limit conference expansion, limit the transfer opportunity, so athletes can only transfer one place.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years, it has certainly felt like the Wild West.
It's gotten out of control.
It has gotten where people can just jump, because even before NIL happened, if you transferred, there was a punishment to that. And that was kind of the argument. It was like coaches can leave and go wherever they want, but if a player wanted to leave because he didn't like the situation he was in, well, he was punished by having to sit out a year. Right. That's gone away, and you can go for money now.
Right. Well, and now it's especially more impactful with the 5-for-5 rule that's in place, where as soon as you start college, you have 5 years of eligibility. That's it. We're not going to see a bunch of 27-year-olds who are just running around the field anymore. So I think that's more incentive to, I guess, reinstate loyalty in college football. Is that?
Loyalty to an extent, because as you're saying, with this act, it limits the transfers to one without penalty.
Yeah.
So you might get that, but what it also is, what you've seen is players who then, instead of, well, I'm not getting paid in college, I got to go to the NFL if I want to get paid and before I get hurt. Now you're seeing those players stick around, paid to play, but then also getting better, so that when they do go to the NFL, there's not a lot of sitting on the bench watching. You can almost see them come in year one, year two, and do very well.
Yeah. What are your expectations of this Boise State team? I know you don't follow it quite as close as you might have used to.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it at all, actually.
Yeah, well, a first year in the Pac-12, you know, it just feels like it's, in my opinion, it feels like every time they made the jump, like from the WAC to the Mountain West, those WAC teams followed. The Mountain West to the Pac-12, those Mountain West teams followed. And so it's a lot of the same familiar competition. There's a few more eyeballs. Is this a team that you think, or a conference that can one day maybe compete with the Big Ten, Oregon, schools like that? Or do you think there's still that huge gap that's kind of hard to shrink?
Well, I don't know. And I think my question is, okay, so the years that they've been really prominent, they've either had a very good team like 2007, and that was a team. Like Jared Zabransky and all those guys, you had some star players, but nobody that really stood out.
Right.
Like the Kellen Moore that came along after that, like the Ashton Genty that came along after that, Ryan Clady, any of those guys. But so that's the question. Is it enough that you have one really good player, or do you want like a bunch of just hardworking unknown players as a team that do very well? And history has shown us they've done better when it's just the team and not necessarily the guy.
Right.
So when you count on Kellen Moore, obviously they did very, very well under Kellen Moore as a quarterback. Was it 50-3?
Yeah.
So
something amazing.
Something amazing like that. But the national prominence of winning that, big major bowl game and advancing in now the college football playoffs, that hasn't happened. And that's the next step, is winning that first round.
I think so. And I think that if they can get that, that will unlock the depth problem that schools like Boise State or San Diego State have. You'll hear from a lot of people, Jared Zabransky said this, their top 25 guys can go against anybody in the country. It's when you get to the 30, 45 roster spots, the backup D tackles, that becomes a problem. Those guys are 4-stars all across the board at Power 4 schools.
Well, and I think what we've seen across the country when it comes to the NIL, it's the teams or the towns that have the money, that have the businesses that can pump it back into the university, like now the Big Ten that we're seeing, as opposed to the SEC that used to dominate because they would just hoard players. That's changed. That's cycled things up a little bit. So it's whether or not people around the Treasure Valley can invest or want to invest in that kind of player and program at Boise State.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out, because college football, even from 5 years ago, looks extraordinarily different, especially at Boise State.
Yeah, I know. And I think if I look back, you brought this up and I was going through it today, just the history of it. Like the pivotal moment for me was I want to go back to like 2001 when things kind of shifted for Boise State. It was when they played Fresno State. It was ranked 8th. They had David Carr as quarterback, who would be drafted #1 that following spring. They beat them in Fresno. And that was like, it's a Greg Sasser sacking, I believe, David Carr, the sack that shook the San Joaquin Valley kind of thing, where it was just like that. They put themselves on the map in 2001, and it's just been going incrementally since then. But to me, that was the time, and I was watching that again, like everybody else on ESPN that night. It was just amazing, and they've obviously grown. Then came Coach Pete, or it's Hawkins, then Pete, and now we're moving into the program
Danielson
now. The
era.
Danielson, yeah, exactly.
And they just all keep elevating the bar, which is amazing. You look around the college football landscape, you don't really see that. A lot of schools regress after a couple of good years, like UCF when they went undefeated and have the self-proclaimed national championship.
Well, I mean, it happens here too. It's the 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You know, the Ashton Genta year, and then last year, like, okay, let's check ourselves.
Yeah.
And now, now we've made that 1 step back. Now they're probably asking, all right, how do we continue with the next 2 steps?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
I know.
Okay, Brian,
Who's the first one? Who do they play first?
Oregon.
Oh, yeah, that'll be good.
Big Ten, Big Ten, Oregon. But as we heard, 3-1 record against Oregon. You never know.
True. That is true. I don't know if that's going to be this year, though. I don't know. Surprise me.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah.